But the big question, should Steve Smith be the Australian cricket captain once again? He actually said a couple of weeks ago that he was interested, and now the incumbent captain, Tim Paine, has said, well, yeah, I think it's a good idea as well. Is it a good idea?
I was at that dinner where Tracy Holmes did a terrific interview with Tim Paine, and there were 449 cognoscenti of cricket there and me. And the actual interview was interesting because what he said was, yeah, well, look, I'd support that, which wasn't the big deal that he said that. It'd only have been news if he said, no, I don't support it. What was interesting, the warm applause from the movers and shakers in the cricket world at the SCG, so it was including the chair and the CEO and all these fast bowlers and the cricket community was there in force. And when the idea was put up that Steve Smith should come back, they heavily applauded. I looked around and went, oh, that's interesting.
Were you surprised then?
I was surprised at the warmth, the acclaim, because I thought, that was Sandpaper Gate was a disgrace, no doubt about it. The press conference afterwards where Smith burst into tears, I thought, gee, well, whatever else, he's sorry, and that's your starting point for coming back. But 2 years later, it looks like the cricket community is ready to have him back as captain.
It worries me a little bit about Tim Paine making that comment. Not the fact that he supports him, I think probably a lot of people do, but for me it was like putting your retirement out there, and I've never been big on anybody coming in and saying, hey, look, it's my farewell, I'm going to play another season, I'm going to get out there and do as well as I can. So you can all come and say goodbye to me.
To be fair, Todd, I think Tim Paine has earned the right to go out in the manner in which he chooses. If he wants to have a retirement hoo-ha party around Australia, let him, because he's actually, I think, brought Australian cricket back from the brink. But the thing is, I'm with you, Fitzy, in terms of Steve Smith. Leadership is fascinating and it's hard, which is why no one ever made Fitzy a captain. So, but I will say that I feel like initially Steve Smith, I was in the camp of, nah, don't let him lead again. He clearly can't cope with the pressures of leadership. His gig is to play cricket well and to hit lots of balls and make lots of runs.
He knows more now.
But I feel like this whole episode has matured him as a man. Yeah. It will mature him as a leader, and you can be guaranteed that he would never let that stuff pass again because he's seen it, right?
Absolutely.
So I actually think if Tim Paine, when he's ready to go, and he should be given the opportunity to go when he wants to, I feel like I'm, not that it matters, but I'm comfortable with, and I think most of the Australian public would be comfortable with Steve Smith stepping in as the next captain.
The best story he told, so after Sandpaper Gate, they leave Cape Town, they get to Johannesburg, they're all reeling, he gets a call, come upstairs to see James Sutherland and Pat Howard. They say, there's been a board meeting back in Australia, you're it. And so he goes back to his room reeling, and there's his mum and his wife. Said, you look like you've seen a ghost. What is it? He said, I've just been made the 46th Test captain of Australia. And his mum says, oh, yeah, but look, well, that'll be only for a week.
Well, he was about to retire, right? Yeah. He had a busted finger. He was looking at a job in the corporate world.
And he's also talked about the fact that when he captained Tasmania, he was a rubbish captain. He said, I wasn't good enough, I was young. So that just goes to show that leadership is something that you develop through the course of your career.
Were you a good captain?
Very good.
Were you?
Just ask me, I think I was seven. But I will say I was a better captain at the end of my career than at the start, because at the start I was very dictatorial, and you ask any of the girls I play with. I was
women that you played with.
Thank you, Fitzy. I was unpleasant because it had to be my way. As I developed, I learned so much, and I became a better captain for listening to the players around me.
There's a couple of things there. I think that, in a sense, Steve Smith has become not a pseudo-captain, but certainly a key part of the leadership of the team as it stands at the moment anyway, and helping Tim Paine. The other kicker to this story is Cameron Bancroft, who's getting ready to play county cricket in England, has come out and said, well, at the time I didn't really say anything, but I've got to say, I reckon the bowlers knew what was going on.
He didn't say those words, but
that's what he intimated.
Intimation.
If they didn't know, I don't believe they didn't, because if you play tennis, you have 6 balls out there, you know which ball the last rally was played with by looking at it, you know which one's been in a pocket, which one hasn't been used. If you're telling me that you've got someone that's rubbing up a cricket ball with some sandpaper, that the rest of the guys, if they pick it up, don't recognise it, no way.
No, exactly
I'll just write the headline now. Woodbridge accuses complicity of Australian fast bowlers. They knew, he said.
I mean, Fitzy,
Cameron Bancroft is right, because he said, draw your own conclusions. But I feel like he's allowed the scab to be picked off this a bit.
Yeah.
He's
pretty good bit of journalism, because there's no doubt that he got caught by somebody just probing around a conversation that he thought he was having, and he kind of answers, and I bet you wish he didn't.
And it's not a question that he hasn't been asked before. He's managed to say stum all this time, and he's just let it out.